All right. Time check, 11:50 a.m. on a sunny Sunday. I had my slow-mo on camera on slow-mo mode, so I had to go back and correct it. I think it's okay now. Hopefully this audio is being picked up too. So I'm just going for a short walk here. Shake off some of the doldrums. I'm kind of hoping that the audio and the video is being picked up okay. But this camera looks like it's going to bow down. It's alright. Looks like it's capturing some of the horizon. Let's see. Yeah, it's just about 5 or 6 days away from my trip. As I see an airplane coming overhead, coming into land at SeaTac Airport. I'll be doing the same thing pretty soon here. It was a cold morning today, about 34, 36 degrees. So I had to take in some of the primroses I just bought from the store, otherwise they would have died from the frost. I'll take them back out. Take them back in, I should say. I took them in last night, took them out this morning. I'll take them back in tonight because they're forecasting more frost. It's winter in the Pacific Northwest for you. A little bit unpredictable. It's not so bad. So, for this walk and talk, I was talking about on a previous video how the first 100 days of this new administration, 2025, has already been obviously controversial with the deportations and really the Doge team headed by Mr. Musk, as appointed by the executive branch, unelected. He was just appointed, which the executive branch has the right to do. But as a result, his team, which is comprised of very young tech-savvy folks, when I say very young, 25 years old, I think some of them are a little bit younger. They're gutting some of the government coffers that are sending out money to different countries worldwide, different continents, Asia, Africa, the Americas, Middle East, via the USAid department. I'm up for reducing fraud, waste, and abuse, but unfortunately its intended consequences is really affecting even the Philippines. I think there's some money that was allotted for kind of improving or maintaining the propagation, the proliferation of crocodiles. The Philippine crocodile. It's not that much money. But they said, nah, man, we're not going to do that anymore. Okay. I understand that, but in the field of healthcare, there's quite a bit of money allotted for like acquired immunity deficiency syndrome, AIDS, AIDS reduction, AIDS prevention program, and they're taking that away too. That kind of stuff is important. Although Marco Rubio, the newly appointed secretary of, I think he's the secretary of finance or something like that, said a waiver can be included in some of these programs, but if you interrupt some of these programs from being instituted, many people die because the flow of medications will stop, and for a lot of these folks, you can't do that. It's as if you're receiving treatment for an accident or something like that, or a disease, and they said, nope, I can't give you your medication anymore. I know it happens. A lot of people can't afford very expensive meds, but this is kind of an investment, if you will, by the U.S. for goodwill around the world. And if you stop these programs, it's not like they're going to perceive America to be bad all of a sudden. Of course, it's not going to happen, but they're going to feel abandoned, disappointed, hurt, or worse. But a new regime has the right to do that. That's the way democracy works. That's the way one of our branches of government works. Although there's some federal judges that have now blocked, or at least issued a temporary restraining order for these executive actions. They can't, I don't think so anyway. I don't think they can stop the declaration of an emergency by the executive branch. Let's say the bleeding of illegal immigration at the U.S. border. If a president wants to declare that, that's his right. And in fact, Trump was elected by virtue of the past administrations, not just talking about the Biden administration. I mean, if you date all the way back to the Reagan years, Ronald Reagan granted amnesty in 1987 to people who came here, I don't say legally, people who were undocumented. So one can argue that our immigration problems stem from even those days. So I've got some eagles here are flying overhead. I think they're eagles. Maybe the camera can pick that up. Circling around. Beautiful. Anyway, there's a pair of them. Maybe is this mating season, maybe? Yeah, they're beautiful wingspan on them. Anyway, so those are the two main points I wanted to maybe chat about, and a little food for thought on what's happening. The third thing is the fact that there are several departments that are being gutted too, like the Department of Education. I think we're starting to pull a lot of funds from funding even school lunches for kids. And if you do that, I mean, there's some states that rely on that money heavily to feed lunch programs and even offer counseling assistance. And just think about all the conflicts that are going on in the world. Some of these kids are from war-ravaged countries, and I think I read an article from the Institute of the Study of War that the trauma that kids experience during war years is something that, you know, that needs counseling, needs therapy. Well, one can argue that that's a very small fraction of the student population, and a lot of it is ripe for abuse. Oh, okay. Let's just say that we need to eliminate that. Something to be funded by non-taxpayer dollars, needs to be funded by private money. I'm afraid that the result is, you know, going to affect folks like you and me. When these kids become really troubled and unable to adjust, they tend to leak into a life of crime or drugs. It's just something no good. You know, run away, and you'll see some of the major cities in the U.S. where drugs are just out of control. I'm not saying that there's a direct correlation, but it could be. You know, depression and trauma might lead to the rampant abuse of medication for pain, drugs, but that's arguable, debatable. I just have to see. Have to see how that works out. So hopefully that will end well, as they say. We'll reach some kind of a compromise. Now we'll see how the rest of the honeymoon period, as they say, the first 100 days go. It's good boy, good boy. It's been a rocky start so far, but you know, every administration will have its fans, and it'll have its critics. It's just the way democracy works. So, have a great day, everybody.